Hello YouTube, welcome back to a brand new video. My name is Kevin and this is the Red Pilling channel. So I want to talk a little bit more at Tucker Carlson and I want to answer a question. So I watched this YouTube, was inspired by a YouTube video I saw from Steven Crowder. He's another popular conservative voice on YouTube. He's on Rumble too. I don't know if he has a podcast or not, or he puts it on a podcast so people can listen to him. But so yeah, he's kind of a guy. He's if you know him or have heard of him, he definitely makes things funny. Definitely not a politically correct guy, and he's pretty MAGA on a lot of the key stuff. So I do respect him as well. But he asked, "Is Tucker MAGA?" Because he's been given a lot of criticism for interviewing people for Nick Fuentes, and people are not happy about it, and they're so upset they want him removed. And it's largely from the extremely pro-Israel side of the Republican Party and the neocons. They want him removed from that. So is he MAGA? And I'm also going to give some thoughts on some of the stuff Crowder was saying too on stuff. So obviously, I love Tucker. He's probably of the three, he's definitely in the three of the people that I respect. And here are the 5 pillars of MAGA. And basically, this was actually, I go on Grok, it's a search engine that's supposed to rival Google. That's Elon Musk's. And it basically talks about what kind of quotes what Tucker was saying. America first. Every decision must benefit the United States. And I think that's where foreign policy comes for. Our decisions have to be put American needs first and not being pressured by another country. So our people come first, our interests, our needs, foreign and domestically. So secure the border. We have to control and regulate who comes in here. We cannot just have the borders wide open, especially to the third world that don't share our values. We can't do that. You have to secure our borders, and Biden handled it so badly that I think we really need a moratorium, a temporary moratorium till further notice. I mean, that's how bad it got. No more pointless wars, so no nation building, no war on terror, no regime change. The only time I think war's a necessity is if you're threatened or they attack you, or just both. That's when you have to defend yourself. But like all the stuff we hear about war, I just don't see the purpose of it. So these foreign alliances like this. So like, I don't know. People say that I'm more to the right of Trump when it comes more to the isolationalist, which is what Tucker kind of is now. I guess I am too, because I just don't trust our leadership when it comes to war, and I don't want to die in war off the behalf of our leadership's special interest, and let alone another country's interest that they're trying to obeying. A lot of them seem to advance, because they do. Our politicians have so much special interest. It's not even funny. Real jobs. Reject an economy of Wall Street, real estate, and offshore. GDP alone is fake. You must make things again. That's his fourth pillar of MAGA. You have to make things. We have to bring manufacturing, and doing that to protect our job. We have to protect, when the tariffs come in, we have to protect our jobs. Protect them from our trade policies from being abused, and kind of almost like regulate so companies aren't so quick to move to other countries. Free speech. We have to defend our right to have dialogue and debate and just have opinions. Anywhere from big tech, censorship, government, and cancel culture. We have to. So to answer that, is Tucker Carlson MAGA? Yeah, clearly. I mean, Tucker's more MAGA than these people trying to boot him as they are. A lot of these people, their loyalties to another country. So it's like, who are they to lecture him when it comes to what America First is, what MAGA is. Just, I don't know. Just, now, obviously, just because we're MAGA does not mean we agree on every little thing, and that's probably good. We should have dialogue and different perspectives. It's really how we grow, is to have different perspectives. So that's a little bit on Tucker. Now, I want to respond a little bit about some of the criticism I feel that came from Crowder and as well, that I just I feel like I needed to defend my guy on. First of all, Tucker is not pro-Russia. Okay? I mean, he's not pro-Russia by any means. I know he referenced a quote, a video of him when he was grocery shopping at a Russian store because he was in Russia, and it sounded like he was talking about how it was cheaper even there than here. Well, obviously he was interviewing more for an economic perspective because he's trying to talk about the economic crisis America's going through. He wasn't actually saying, "Oh, Russia good." Now, I understand Crowder's point. Crowder was critical because it's like, can you also acknowledge that Russia's not a free country? Okay, well, yeah, I understand that, but Tucker was literally talking about an economic mind perspective. And it is pretty ridiculous that Russia's cheaper than even our groceries. Especially for the fact that Russia's not we're more free than Russia. It's crazy. And the ruling class has destroyed us. So anyway, so that's a little bit defensive there. So I really don't get what Crowder had with that one, I guess. But obviously there's a lot of criticism that Tucker doesn't. A lot of his interviews lately have been really softball. He's been interviewing a lot of people who are not necessarily conservative. People are concerned about that because he doesn't push back. He just talks to them and kind of just has conversation, but doesn't really push back when they say stuff extreme. Now, Nick Fuentes said something about liking Stalin, and that raised eyebrows because Tucker didn't push back on that. How do you let a guy say that without any pushback? In fact, and Stalin's one of the most evil men in modern history, maybe all world history, and you don't push back on that. So I mean, and obviously we don't know what he liked about Stalin because he didn't ask. So I feel like that he definitely dropped the ball there. There's definitely the one with the nun where he was not. He was really. That was kind of after Ted Cruz. It's like, how do you not ask her any tough questions? So people were not happy with him on that because people kind of saw her as a Hamas sympathizer, and it's like people were not happy with that. There was also the Maduro thing that Crowder criticized him on. His thing with I know Tucker was talking about gay marriage and how they're socially conservative, and it's like, well, why do they want to overthrow the Maduro regime? And again, regime change. Again, I agree with Tucker wholeheartedly on this. Regime change only makes things worse, and it's not our job. It's just not our job, and they fail, and not why we're $37 trillion in debt, and not why people can't afford groceries. There's no reason we should be sending troops on the ground. No. So what's our leader's interest? And he, he kind of referenced Tucker's thing there, where Tucker seemed to imply that, well, obviously they are very left-wing economically, but they are socially conservative on things like abortion and not being pro-traditional marriage. And it's like, obviously Crowder was talking to him more on the aspect that the reason Venezuela does it isn't for the reason you think they're doing it for, which is I would agree. I definitely would agree with Crowder there. Just because they do things that seem good on our eyes, that does not mean they do it for the right reasons. Obviously, communists, they historically were anti-gay marriage because they needed more workers, and gays can't produce children, so yes. And I definitely agree there is more abortions over there, but I'm pretty sure it's more back alley abortions. I'm pretty sure. So I don't know, but obviously, yeah, Tucker could be pushed back that just because they like something, that does not mean that they are good. But even Tucker said, I don't support their regime. But it's like people, anyway, I guess Crowder's criticism is Tucker could have pushed back and made it himself a little bit more clearer on his interviews, and they feel he kind of maybe unintentionally misleads people the way he says things, almost like, and people who are ignorant, they'll think he's a communist sympathizer for saying that. He's not that, but I understand that perspective there. So that's a little bit on Tucker Carlson, just explaining some examples people have had with him. But I mean, I think he means well. I do think, whether you like it or not, I think what people don't understand about Tucker is really representing the base. Now, here's the thing. If there's one base he's representing, it's the people that feel they've been ignored and the people who want to put America first. And that's, I guess you could say, his target audience. And I'm not saying that Crowder, I know Crowder is America first too, but I'm talking about the one, particularly young people. That's specifically his target audience. And ever since the terrible, tragic assassination of Charlie Kirk, which they were like extremely close, a lot of Kirk's base has gravitated towards Tucker because I think they see him as the closest they have to Charlie Kirk. So I don't know. I do think Kirk, here's what people understand too. Whether you agree with everything Tucker Carlson says or not, a lot of his beliefs are going to be more. The base is moving more towards the Tucker Carlson mindset of beliefs, of viewpoints, rather, no matter what. So, and that's something I don't think the Crowder understands either on that specific issue, specific mindset. So I think Tucker isn't necessarily trying to mislead people, but I think he's trying to represent the young base like me. So anyway, I just felt like I needed to give some perspective because, I don't know, I feel one problem I have with Crowder is I feel like, again, not that he only talks about people he has a reason to, but it's like, why didn't you show the good things that Tucker does talk about? If you believe he is MAGA, which you seem to imply he does, and that he's not anti-Semitic, then why don't you show the good things he advocates for rather than the negative stuff? Because I believe his values are way more important than one or two issues, and that's where I think Crowder doesn't serve the movement, and I feel like he misleads his own audience when he does that, like that. And I feel it's clickbait. I don't like clickbait. So, and responding to his thing when he says a quote where he said, "I hated Donald Trump." Well, first of all, so did J.D. Vance. And yeah, I think, and people say that he never explained. Yeah, he did. He explained it to Tulsi Gabbard when she had I think it was, the most clear one was on Tulsi Gabbard's show, when she had a YouTube channel before she went to joined Trump's administration. I mean, he gave that, yeah, he thought Trump was kind of a buffoon, but, I mean, is that different than Crowder? I mean, Crowder said himself in his video that there are some things he disagrees with Trump on. So I don't, and obviously, a lot of people hated Donald Trump that now love him. So Tucker literally said what pushed pushed him towards Donald Trump was the reaction to him. And even if he didn't like him, it still pushed him to Trump more because Trump was advocating for the stuff that mattered most to him still, despite maybe not liking his personality and stuff. So I don't know. However, I do know he was on Fox News, and he did say a lot of times he kind of went against his own conscience a lot. He's been wrong on a lot of issues, but he's admitted a lot of stuff. So I don't know. Maybe Crowder and Tucker can debate. I don't know if they reached out to each other on that or not. There'll be a discussion, but I know he interviewed Dave. Crowder and Dave Smith debated, which is a pretty interesting one. I should go watch that one, but be interesting. So I don't know. My advice for the Crowder side, don't give up on Tucker. That's all I'm saying. I don't know. He's an interesting guy. He's very smart, especially on foreign policy. I trust him a lot when it comes to these big issues. But I don't know. Just be careful. That's all I'm saying. Don't be psyoped. And I think my only criticism of Crowder, once again, is if he wants to quote, if he's going to quote people, or he's going to talk about a video about another person, he needs to, I think, be a little bit more, be careful to not always make the discussion about them negative, or else he's going to, I think he unintentionally hurts that candidate, because then the base that doesn't know much about them only sees the negative parts. So I just think that's one thing that why I felt I needed to make this video, so people can understand that. So anyway, I just wanted to get my thoughts about there. Yes, Tucker's very much MAGA, and so is Crowder. We're in this together. So whoever's trying to cancel Tucker and remove him over really the stuff that don't matter at the end of the day really are not in good faith, and they're really not of us, and they're actually, I think, infiltrators. So anyway, that's all I have for today. If you like this video, please like, comment, let me know what y'all think. If you like this channel, please subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. The Red Pilling Channel, out.